Now, well, the vast majority of the people in the room here are not in a military organization. In fact, almost all. So it seems like an unfair fight, right? I mean, if it's us against China or in other countries, them against the U.S.
Yeah, it is an
that doesn't
unfair
seem so what are we supposed to do?
Well, you know, Keith Alexander has been talking along these lines, saying, you know, those of us in the corporate world, we pay our taxes to be defended against foreign militaries. Why don't we have the U.S. military defend our companies? Well, do you really want that?
Yeah.
Do you really want, first of all, there's an assumption there, which is that the U.S. military would be better at it than you are. That's kind of an erroneous assumption. The U.S. military has been hacked too, including some pretty sensitive classified networks.
Right.
Have been hacked.
Cybernet has gotten viruses. Sure.
Cybernet, indeed.
Sure.
Cybernet's the classified network, or one of them. The White House has been hacked. The State Department's been hacked.
Sure.
OPM has been hacked. How many of you had your entire background history stolen by the Chinese from OPM?
Easier to ask who didn't.
Yeah, right. So the notion that the government can do it better than corporations can, I think that's not a proven assumption.
They can probably do offense better than anyone. You give them that?
They can do offense better.
Offense is easier.
They can do offense better, but the question there is, do you really want to engage in an all-out war?
And you know I don't. I'm very much against it. But I'm just thinking for all of us, it's a confusing situation because it feels like in World War II, it was the government fighting, and it was Rosie the Riveter and war bonds and people being the society supporting. And now it's flipped, and now it feels like all of us on the front and government behind the scenes trying to, DIS and DHS trying to help and so on. And it just seems weird.
I know the frustration, and the best example of it was the Iranian DDoS of the banks.
Yeah.
So.
One of the worst few weeks of my life.
Yeah,
actually.
I'll bet. Yeah. So, just you all know the story, but just to refresh, we attacked their nuclear enrichment facilities, which, by the way, were not online. It's kind of a neat trick to get into their plant and wipe out all their software. Anyway, allegedly, the United States did that. Got to say that. They then retaliate by doing this massive DDoS attack on our banks. And it's of a scale and size that no one had ever seen before. Yeah. Had a really hard time dealing with. And the CEOs in the banks, down the street here, we got their attention. We got to the CEO level pretty quickly. And their question was, what's the government doing about it? And the answer was nothing. And so the CEOs in many of these banks started calling into the White House, the Obama White House, and saying, hey, what do we pay our taxes for? Why aren't you defending us? And the Obama administration said, that's your job. I think that was a wake-up call for a lot of people in the private sector, that you really are on your own when a Russian or an Iranian or a North Korean military unit attacks you.